Well, Ryan, congratulations on the big announcement. Walkinshaw Andretti United is joining forces with Ford and the Mustang in 2023. How are you and the whole team feeling now that the whole world knows?
A little bit relieved. We've been obviously on a bit of a journey trying to find a manufacturer for several years now. So the fact that we finally found one and got a good deal with Ford, and we're back to being a factory-supported team, was always one of our missions for myself, Michael, and Zach when we formed Walkinshaw Andretti United. So I think we're quite relieved that we finally managed to accomplish this goal, and looking forward to the opportunities and challenges ahead.
So what has the reaction from the fans been like? Have you been surprised?
Yeah, I have been actually. Yeah, better than expected. There was still a bit of hate and vitriol that came out of it, which is understandable considering the emotion that's behind this sort of decision and the passion that's within our fan base in particular. We're expecting the worst, so when actually it was nowhere near as bad as we were expecting, that was obviously a positive. I think most of the fans understood it. We used to be the Holden racing team until 2016, and then that got taken off us. We've been staying loyal even after that to Holden, right until the Lion will breathe his last breath at the end of this season at the Adelaide 500. So it's not a question of loyalty. We could have changed much sooner. In fact, one of the jokes Michael and Zach always said is that your dad wouldn't have waited so long. There's not many, if any, normal teams that aren't factory supported that have won championships in the last 12, 15 years in supercars. It's really critical to have factory support in order to get that sort of consistency that's required in order to win championships on the regular.
Can you share with us the discussions that you would have had with GM and what their reaction has been to this announcement?
Yeah, I mean, I can only say so much because obviously, we've got a relationship there, and a lot of what we talk about is confidential. But they were pretty good. They're understanding, as you'd expect. We had conversations with many different manufacturers over the last few years. I think 7 in total. And by the end, we had 2 offers on the table, and the Ford one was the one that made the most sense for us from a financial perspective, from a support perspective. The way that they operate with the homologation team really closely with Ford Performance was something we found really, really attractive, and something that we don't see as much on the Triple Eight side of things. Ensuring that we had fairness with the other teams in Ford was something that was really important to us, and something which we struggled to gain confidence on if we were going to remain with the Camaro the way that it's structured with Triple Eight. There's no other manufacturer in supercars that's investing as much money in supercars as Ford is. They're really committed to the championship. We've got a long-term deal with them, so all those things stacked up to make it a really, really enticing offer, and one that we really couldn't refuse.
Can you share with us who some of those other players were that you were considering?
I knew you were going to ask that.
I won't tell anyone.
Unfortunately, I can't. But there's been a lot of speculation, and generally there's not smoke without fire. But there's a couple in there that we spoke to that people haven't picked up on yet. So it's good to see that sometimes a few secrets can remain secrets.
You spoke of your family history and legacy with General Motors through Holden and the Commodore. I know it can't have been an easy decision for you personally. I'm sure there was a lot to consider, so can you give us some insight into, I guess, the biggest considerations and what you really had to think about moving forward?
It still feels quite weird. I still haven't got used to it yet. A lot of people, everyone in Australia knows us as being the Holden guys, right? And we're always going to have that tagline associated with us. But it's not lost on me the magnitude of this decision and the way that a lot of the fans will be feeling, because I feel the same way. And it took me a while to get used to it, and I'm still not completely there. But when you actually look at it, it's actually an exciting change. And change is exciting. It can be weird and frustrating and difficult at first, but generally change is a good thing. Change for change's sake is never ideal, but change for the right reasons, which is what we've done and why we've moved to Ford. When it makes sense, you're pretty confident that it's the right choice.
So why is it time for a new chapter for you, for this organisation?
Well, for us, and I'll speak from the racing side first and foremost, we wanted to have manufacturer support again. That's been the real driving force to this. Financially, it better suits the team. From a performance perspective, it better suits the team. Having that support with a manufacturer behind your back does help you go racing and become more consistent. The opportunity with us changing now made a lot of sense. Holden will finish at the end of this year. That brand will never race in a professional racing category again, most likely in the future. And for us, going to Camaro and staying in the GM family makes the most obvious sense for a lot of our fans, but it didn't make as much sense for us.
You made a comment earlier, said that Michael and Zach had said, your dad wouldn't have waited this long, that he would have made a change, I'm sure. you know, you found a quiet moment to reflect on what he would think of all of this and the big change that's coming.
Yeah.
What would he say to you? What would he think?
Well, one of the comments that seems to raise its head a lot from some of the fans who are a little bit more upset about this announcement is, you know, that my dad would have been rolling in his grave. And then my response is always, he was a Ford driver before he did anything with General Motors, so that normally shuts people up pretty quickly.
How do you think you're going to feel? What's the emotion going to be like as we get to the end of the season when this chapter really closes?
That will be huge, and it's a good question because for us, you know, that's really what our focus is going to be this year. Is we want to finish on a high with General Motors and Holden for the fans and also for our own guys and our own team. It'll be quite special, and I think there were two ways of doing that. One is finishing and winning the last ever race in Adelaide for Holden, and secondly we'll be trying to win the last ever Bathurst 1000 for Holden. I think those are two good opportunities to say goodbye in the right way.
Well, wishing you all the very best in that pursuit. Can't wait to see you on the grid next year standing next to a Ford Mustang.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little weird.
It's going to be weird, but it'll be good.
It will. Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you.